listen, you'll have to take me out of commission, cause dissing me ain't gonna get it. My self-esteem is prolific, so when I say I ain't tripping, you know.
Let's talk about Collision / Battle of the Belts, because I did try to watch both. So let's get into Collision first. July the 14th, 2023. They're still in Canada. Can't get them out of Canada. They need to be evicted from Canada. Kevin Kelly, boring self, won't be here on this show. He's apparently boring everybody on New Japan. So instead, we got Ian Riccaboni, who is moderately better than Kevin Kelly. He's a little bit more excitable. He's a little bit more personable. He has a little bit more of a personality. So Ian Riccaboni is wearing a pink suit with a cowboy hat because it's Stampede season in Calgary. Therefore, everybody has to wear a cowboy hat. I thought it was 1993 WWF all over again, where everybody's wearing gimmicks. It's kind of fun, you know. I thought NXT did stuff like that now. Apparently AEW is getting in on the gimmicks too. Okie dokie. That's fine. Let's talk about this show. The first match on Collision. The AEW Tag Team Championships, best 2 out of 3 falls. Bullet Club Gold versus FTR. I'm going to be that guy. I know you've probably been watching people rant and rave about this match. I'm going to be this guy. This match was too damn long. There was over 40 minutes when this match only had 1 fall. 40 plus minutes. I'm sorry. I don't care how much I like you. I'm not watching you wrestle for 40 minutes, man. This match is too long. These matches are too long. This was too much time dedicated to one match. They did 40 minutes last week. Now they did almost 50. What on earth? I'm pretty sure it was over 50. Look, I refuse to give people credit for just having long matches. Alright, now it's too many people out there that's going to be like, oh, the match was it was great. It's like, it's one of those phony epic matches where everybody, it's like a 6-hour movie or something like this. Like, what is wrong with you? You can't tell this story in less time? You cannot do all of this crap you guys were doing in less time. They were holding on to each other and laying all over each other 40 minutes into the match. 40 minutes into the match, they're doing the old DIY hand-holding spot. I'm like, man, if you don't get your bitch ass up and start moving around in here in this match, please. I'm yelling, wrap it up for like the last 20 minutes, bro. I was not on the edge of my seat wondering who was going to win. 1, I knew FTR was going to win. 2, this match just happened last week. So hurry this up. Okay, figure this out. I can't stand it. I'm sorry. I am the dude. I'm the guy. Unless it's announced as an Iron Man match or something like that, a wrestling match does not need to be 40 minutes. It's too long. And this was over 40 minutes. It's too long. This was half the show dedicated to a tag team title match. And then it ends flat as hell because now FTR has won. Where's Bullet Club Gold going to go? It's over now. So, what's the point of this? And then he wins with the sharpshooter. Okay, fine. I don't care. You want to give this match 10 stars and talk about how you love it so much? Fine. I'm never watching this match again. I'll never see it again. So, that's just how I work. Once a match is that long, I usually never see it again. I literally have other things to do. Mix it up. Figure it out. Figure out how to be engaging in less time. All right? Period. I can't stand it. No. I will not stand for it. This match was too goddamn long. Too long. It's ridiculous. The second match on the show, Willow Nightingale defeats Ruby Soho with a gut-wrench powerbomb. Which it went exactly the way I said it was going to go last week. If I remember correctly, I said that Willow was going to beat Athena, and then she was probably going to win the Owen Cup, which is exactly what happened. Ruby Soho being positioned as the runner-up for 2 years in a row, that's humorous. But Willow wins. It's the right decision, if you ask me. She's the one that they're pushing. So, I mean, it is what it is. You know, she finally gets a victory over the Outcast. Seems about right. I don't have a problem with this. How was the match? To be quite honest, I didn't want to watch wrestling anymore after I watched this tag team title match. It was just so much of it. I didn't want to watch another match. I didn't want to see anything else after I watched that match. I'm not even going to hold you up. I was very frustrated after that match. That match was too damn long. They showed some kind of segment with QT Marshall copping pleas to Powerhouse Hobbs and didn't have Hobbs kill him, which means this is poorly booked. Moving on, the Kings of the Black Throne, Cop Killer, Brody King versus the Malicious Malachi Black. Defeated a couple of jobberinos. Worthless, not worth everybody's time. Andrade stalked the ring. Look at me. Stalked the ring. Look at me. And tried to get his mask back, but it didn't happen. But he had no luck as he was held back by referees and other assorted officials of AEW. So this thing is going to continue forevermore, I guess. All right, main event of Collision. CM Punk versus Ricky Starks Men's Owens Cup. All right, so it was a struggle to get into this match because I was so worn out from the tag team title match. It's just so much wrestling. You have to understand that the law of diminishing returns. It's one thing to say, hey, last week's match was pretty cool. I wouldn't mind watching you guys do it again. And then you come back and you unload on me like this. You know, it's like you have one scoop of ice cream. It's great. You go and you get 10 scoops. It's like, whoa, that's too much. You have one little piece of cake. I love this little piece of cake. Now somebody bring you a whole cake and it's just for you. It's like, oh my goodness. I expect you to eat it all at one time. It's like, wait a minute, I can consume this in pieces. But you're saying I got to eat all of this at one time? That's too much. Even for a man of husk like myself, that is too much. You're asking too much from me. But this match was still fine because I wanted to see it. I was, unlike the other stuff that's happening on this show, which I could have took or left, this is something I actually did want to see. So CM Punk got a mixed reaction. Actually, it was mostly boos. Despite the fact that he was doing a lot of Bret Hart stuff like the elbow drop and the Russian leg sweep, he still was not really getting that big of a positive reaction. Ricky Starks was being cocky throughout the match and was still getting a positive reaction. So it was working out well in Ricky Starks' favor. Ricky Starks ended up spearing Punk. Punk rolled outside the ring from the Force. It was a nice little tackle. I actually liked it. It looked pretty good. It looked more devastating on CM Punk than it did on Powerhouse Hobbs, I can tell you that much. Maybe it's because of Punk selling it, but I think it's mostly because of Punk's size. He's smaller. Ricky Starks coming at him like a missile, tackling him actually comes across like he's tackling even though Punk is bigger than Starks, it's still a smaller man than Hobbs. So it looked a little bit more physical, a little bit more devastating. So we ended up into a second spear where Ricky Starks was doing the Ultimate Warrior bouncing off the ropes, and Punk countered it into a guillotine choke, which I thought was pretty great. The finish came with the two of them doing some roll-ups, each one getting 2 counts, and then Ricky Starks reached out and grabbed the middle rope and got the 3. CM Punk was surprised, shocked, flummoxed. You know, he was taken aback. He was bewitched. He was bamboozled. And he looked, all of that, the camera was on him most of the time, so you know the story was about him. Ricky Starks marched up the ramp celebrating. Jushin Thunder Liger offered him the cup. He snatched the cup from Jushin Thunder Liger, which is a heel move in my book. And he walked away with it. So then Punk walked around on the outside, basically trying to say like, hey, did Starks cheat? You know, and people was like, yeah, Starks cheated. And Punk was like, oh boy. So they were selling some frustration here, and they left the door open for a feud where it seems like Punk is going to have a a bitch. He's going to have a complaint. He's going to actually step to Ricky Starks about this cheating. At least that's what it seems like from the position that we were in when this show went off the air and then when Battle of the Belt started. So Starks winning was a risky move, but it was a useful one. I think CM Punk just trying to babyface himself, saying, hey, look, I don't have to win. I don't need to win this thing. To be quite honest, though, we probably were better off with Punk losing to Joe. I mean, the storyline that I had come up with in my own head about Joe and CM Punk was infinitely better than Ricky Starks winning this tournament, because it didn't do anything for Adam Cole, so what the hell is it going to do for Ricky Starks? If you're going to take CM Punk out of the tournament anyway, then you should have just had Joe beat him. And then had Starks beat Joe, I guess. Which, now that I think about it, I don't know if I would have liked that. In any event, Ricky Starks gets a huge push. It's about time. It's about time he won something of note here in AEW. Now, I'm hoping they actually do something to benefit him and keep him strong and doesn't just build up to a rematch with CM Punk in which he loses. But Ricky Starks needed this win. I don't know if he needed the heel turn, but he needed to win for sure. And it's nice. It was very well done. The main event was fine. I like that. All right, so now let's get into this Battle of the Belts tragedy. It was an absolute abomination. Oh my word. I'm not going to hold you up. I really didn't dedicate a lot of time to this. First match, Lance Archer, who has the hood rat baby mama head braids. I'm talking like those box braids that you see chicks at the gas station with. Why Lance Archer is a grown man with a tramp stamp and hood rat braids, I have no idea. And he's a white man. Very rarely would I talk about, somebody's race, but a white man with a tramp stamp and the baby mama box braids. What is he going through? Murder Hawk Monster? What are you going through? Are you in the middle of something? Is there something we should know? Should we start asking him what his pronouns are? It's ridiculous. I haven't seen Lance Archer in a month of Sundays, and it's still been too soon. I don't know where he came from. I don't know why he's getting this title match. It just seems to be thrust upon us. But then again, most of Orange Cassidy's stuff has been thrust upon us. I fast forward through most of this, so I didn't really watch. I mean, am I supposed to believe that Lance Archer can win this match? Because I clearly didn't. I didn't believe Lance Archer was going to win this. And then I missed the finish. Because I'm like, okay, what's the finish? I didn't see anybody get pinned. Rewind it. And apparently, this was a count out? Was that it? Now, I did see that Orange Cassidy was about to get a DDT from Jake the Snake Roberts. But Lance Archer stopped it. Later on, Lance Archer ended up getting DDT'd on the floor. Right in front of Jake the Snake Roberts. Orange Cassidy also did his stupid fake kicks to Jake Roberts, which is where I started pressing fast forward, by the way. Oh boy. So AEW, they couldn't pull a count out in that 60-minute match so that we can get at least another fall in and finish that match before, people started rotting and dying. But we had to have a count out here. What were you thinking, Tony Khan? What are you thinking? What is your mind state on not using Lance Archer for months, and then using him in a championship match immediately, only to end that match in a count out? What is your thought process about this thing? What are you thinking? What goal were you trying to achieve? That's what I want to know. Because it doesn't seem like you effectively did it. It seemed like you just wasted everybody's time again. All right, we're going to continue. The Acclaim came out for a useless segment in which they challenged QT Marshall on Rampage, which is stupid, and then they challenged the House of Black on Collision next week, which okie dokie, sure. They do deserve a rematch though, because they did get fucked the first time. So, all right, but Canada hates rap apparently because they didn't really respond too much to the Acclaim's raps. And don't give me no shit about, Canada created Drake. Drake ain't no all-time rapper. I'm old enough to know that. I'm not young enough to be brainwashed by the mainstream media to think Drake is a good rapper. Canada ain't never produced a good rapper. Not one. I can't think of one. Name one in the comment section. Name a good Canadian rapper. Cardinal Official? No. There ain't no fucking good Canadian rappers. They hate rap. So apparently, because Canada hates rap, they didn't really understand the acclaim. They only popped for cowgirl outfits, which he could have talked about that at a Taylor Swift concert, because I was downtown in Detroit when Taylor Swift was in town. Never seen so many white girls wearing cowboy hats and boots, and I didn't understand why. It took for somebody else to tell me, like, oh yeah, Taylor Swift is in town for I think she's in here for 2 nights or something like that. And I was like, okay. I don't know why all of a sudden it turned into CMT downtown in Detroit, but I guess that's the case. All right, so Toni Storm versus Taya Valkyrie, which was the only thing on this show I wanted to see. And I did not get any context to why Taya Valkyrie is in this match, considering Taya Valkyrie has lost pretty much every big match she's ever been a part of. She's got, 3 shots against Jade Cargill and lost. And now here, magically, she gets another world title match. And I assume she lost this one too. Well, she did lose this one too. They announced Taya being from Calgary. I didn't know she was from Calgary. I thought she was from somewhere else in Canada. But she came out wearing the cowboy hat gimmick too and everything. And the match was solid enough. This was probably one of the better Taya Valkyrie matches I've seen since she joined AEW. Her performances have been very, very mid since she joined AEW. So this was actually one of the better ones. Toni Storm actually came out and she was very cocky. She's very aggressive. This was fine. And then, like, an alligator ate the tape and it ended. It just disappeared. And next thing I know, it's fucking Julia Hart's in the ring again. I'm looking like, are they showing, is this a commercial? I'm thinking like it's a commercial for Collision or something. And I'm trying to, get past this. And then I see Ian Riccaboni grinning. I'm like, excuse me, what's happening? We were in the middle of a match here. And then we go to the Owen Cup presentations. I said, like, wait a minute. Excuse me. We were in the middle of something. I thought it was just me. I thought like my DVR or something screwed up. That's what I thought. So I went to Twitter, which is what I should have done in the first place instead of racking my brain about it. And it turns out that it was a thunderstorm in Calgary that affected the satellite. And it did not show the finish to the match of Toni Storm versus Taya Valkyrie. So nobody who was watching it on TV saw the finish until after the main event. Everybody who was watching it on demand on what was that, BR Live or something like that? If you're watching it on Fight or something like that, you got the finish. But if you were watching it through TNT, who are supposedly paying for this thing, you got fucked. You didn't get to see the finish. Tony Khan spends way too much money on this product to have this kind of stuff happen. I don't think this has ever happened to a WWE product. And you can't tell me there ain't never been a thunderstorm in some of these places where these guys are. You can't tell me that it wasn't a thunderstorm all of a sudden and you just missed a whole half a match. Like, Vince McMahon redid an entire pay-per-view because the lights went out one time in 96. The power went out. He redid the entire pay-per-view. Now, no doubt, Tony Khan is probably going to do the exact same thing. He's probably going to run this match back, saying, oh, the people missed the finish. We're just going to run the match back. It's not going to hurt anybody but whatever. Turns out Toni Storm actually won with a power driver. But nothing to see here. Nothing against Taya, but did you think it was going to go any other way? No. I mean, you could have skipped the finish. You could have skipped this whole show, and you knew everything was going to happen on the show. Anyway, thunderstorms in Calgary. Yeah, it's thunderstorm, all right. They did the Cup presentation where Dr. Martha Hart was out there. This was fine. She had actually pre-wrote her speech because she starts talking about how the champions won with honor and dignity and all this kind of stuff. And here's Ricky Starks standing there having stolen the match from CM Punk. He's clearly a heel who cheated. But she's like, all of you are representing honorably and with dignity. And I'm like, oh, okay, sure, if you say so. Here's the thing that kind of stuck in my craw a little bit. The song that they played for Martha Hart is an AEW remix of the Jim Johnston theme for Owen Hart. And I sat there and I said to myself, why not create something new? You know, you're trying to really bank off of his New Japan days because you can't use none of the WWF stuff. So why are we still doing WWF stuff? Like, if you want to put him in the video game wearing his gear from New Japan and all this kind of stuff, then stick with the New Japan stuff. You know, you're going to try to create a remix of his WWF theme for his wife in AEW. And the whole reason that she's doing all this is because she hates WWE. Whether rightly or wrongly. But I was just like, wow, these people are just nuts. That's just crazy. Anyway, moving on. The main event was Luchasaurus versus Shawn Spears, and I would rather swim in polluted swamp water than watch this match. I already knew it was going to happen. Luchasaurus won. Scorpio Sky was watching, and I'm like, oh my God, the mid won't stop. The mid refuses to quit. Who the fuck thought that Shawn Spears being in the main event was a good idea? Really? Who thought that was a good idea? Whoever that is should get kicked in their balls until they tickle the back of their throat. You know, you don't deserve to reproduce. And because you can't think. You know, you're incompetent to think that Shawn Spears should be anywhere near the main event of a show with Snitchosaurus. These two people are not main event talents. Neither one of them. Nobody involved with this show is a main event talent. This Battle of the Belts thing is a disaster. It is an absolute disaster. I don't remember any of the other Battle of the Belt shows. I think I might remember the first one. And then they became all about the Ring of Honor belts and a bunch of other stuff. And the FTW belt and any belt except the world title. They wasn't doing the real world title on these shows. So this brand, we're going to bust this thing out. It's crazy. And when you look at the Ring of Honor, Ring of Honor has a pay-per-view on Friday. And as far as I know, they only had one match announced, which was Mark Briscoe versus Claudio. And now that match has to be switched because Mark Briscoe was injured. So they have a pay-per-view in literally like 6 or 7 days, with no main event announced. I think Tony Khan has got way too much on his plate. I think he's got, with the booking Battle of the Belts and Ring of Honor and Dynamite and Collision and Rampage, I think he needs somebody to help him. And maybe CM Punk is that guy because Collision has been the better show. But it's been simple to book because you just put a guy in a 40-minute match, and that's 40 minutes of the show accounted for right there. So whatever. But he clearly, this idea that they're going to expand their pay-per-view slate, even if they have to extend it to once a month, my goodness, he can't even get you to care about a quarterly pay-per-view for Ring of Honor. It's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. But I'm pretty sure we're all going to make it. It's too much wrestling for everybody, even for the super fan. It's too much wrestling. So if it's too much wrestling, if it's too much wrestling for the AEW fan. All right, Battle of the Belts was worthless. The satellite got eaten by gorillas and fucked the whole show. So it'll be memorable from that respect. Collision was basically 2 matches. One of them was 60 fucking minutes, and the other one was a good 20. It seemed like it was 20 minutes. So it's going to be the 6-star FTR CM Punk show. So there it is, with the occasional House of Black and Andrade El Idolo, look at me, appearance. So, not thrilled about Collision, but it wasn't terrible, you know. That 40-minute match was, but the rest of the show wasn't. It was basically inoffensive, you know. So at worst it was inoffensive, you know. At worst it was a match that was on the show that was too damn long. But let me know what you guys think. Rant and rave about how much you loved FTR versus Bullet Club Gold in the comment section below. I will tell you that you're wrong, and then we can all move on peacefully. Like, share, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.